Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. All right. Also, know if you're new to my channel, I like to go deep within my reading. So we look at everything. I look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes within your experience. You need to know this, especially if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, because part of your reading will be a shadow reading. I like to do these readings because it gives you an opportunity to see why your person does what they do, what your triggers are, and if you need to change the dynamic of your relationship, which a lot of times you do because you're dealing with a karmic, and all relationships are karmic because every relationship is teaches you, right? So it depends on what you do. You can completely shape shift your situation. Now, like I said, if you want to enter into a free reading, you need to also like the video, subscribe to the channel, the video when you comment bar. The word of the video is going to be the first card that I pull out, and that's the underlining energy. Why everyone's doing what they're doing. And the reason why that's important is when you're dealing with shadows, you're dealing with people that have wear masks. So they're not really coming from their truth. So that's why you want to know that. So the word of the video is anxiety and worry. So you're going to write either one in your comment bar. You'll know if I chose you if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If I did, then all you need to do is reach out to me. I need to shut this because, of course, now someone's going to text me. That's going to be annoying me. Okay. It's off. Uh, so you'll know if I chose you if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If I did, just reach out to me to my email. And the reason why is because we'll figure out the best day and time that works for both of us. But then the day that get your live stream on the day before, you won't have to worry about trying to find the link or anything. I'll just send it right to your email. So the day of your live stream, what you gotta do is so I'm feeling like Virgo, you're connected to someone that actually is really worried. They have a lot of anxiety. And I feel like in the beginning, a long time ago when you first was set in separation from this person, I think that you were a little bit worried. Now I almost feel like you're like almost like, well, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And I feel like because you have a spiritual connection with this person, they can feel that your energy has shifted. And that's what's really creating the anxiety. See, when you are in a connection with a soul mate, again, the person has a connection, recognizes your energy from a past life. So just because, they may not be in your life for a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months or even a year or 2 years, it doesn't matter. This person finally feels like the shift. And I think it took you a long time to like let go because again, when you love big, you love deep. You don't do anything surface. Anxiety and worry at first, and now that it's gone, now it's messing them up because they went from one extreme to another. So let's take a peek and see what the person did. I want to understand too. Don't worry about your triggers and everything else because we're also pull what this person's hidden truths are because a lot of times the hidden truths are the exact opposite of the wound. That's what happens when a person has a wound. They overcompensate within their behaviorisms. So, and it's because they're not strong within themselves. They're not coming from their true self, their higher self, coming from their ego. So they either over give or they give nothing. So if you're in separation, I wouldn't be surprised if this person's not giving you anything or giving you very little. So let's see what happened. Again, perfectionist. I feel like this person tried to make it like they were too perfect. Like almost like this person feels very inadequate. So in there trying to be perfect, they're not being close to you. They're not building an emotional connection. feel like you felt like they were hiding things a lot. Again, withdrawn, like not really giving you anything, like just surface. And almost, I think it made you like it trigger you to possibly be like, well, you have a connection to me, but you're not giving me anything. So maybe I need to give more. Like, again, this person does that too. Like, I feel like people that have spiritual blocks, they manipulate to try to get the other person to give. Again, unaware. Like, I feel like this person is just like doesn't listen to their gut. They're more listen to their ego. So, and they're unaware of really how they're coming across. And it's because, again, they're too paying attention to the mask that they wore when they were with you. So I feel like this person just didn't give anything. That's not really telling me enough. So it's like argument. So it's like this person, like literally, when they would get like irritated because you wouldn't respond the way that they would want you to respond without having a conversation, mind you, because they're not emotionally intelligent, they literally start an argument with you to like, unless like you soothe them. And to soothe them may not mean to even, it would just mean to like let them do whatever they wanted to do. So again, the argument. It's a form of manipulation. Almost like I also feel like, and this is going to sound crazy, but we're going to look and see why, that this person would like when they're very attracted to you. So the argument would create this like weird like passion, almost like because this person isn't opening up. They're not letting you in. They're not creating a deep, intimate connection where you have to be vulnerable. You have to be, this person's not doing that. What this person is doing is they're like, I'm going to like antagonize you instead, you know, to create this argument because I know you really have feelings for me and I have feelings for you. Then it'll be all about the makeup sex, the makeup, like this. Again, like, I don't know, like, why? It's again, so again, you felt like this whole person just sat there and lied, like lies, like just felt like the whole time, are we living a lie? Do you really have feelings for me? Because you're telling me one thing, but then I'm seeing something else. It's like I'm not feeling what you're saying is true. And that's because they weren't going deep. Lies. I don't think the person was lying either. I think this person operates from their ego, and that's the survival mind. And it's like almost like now they're worried. Now that you cut your energy, so there was again a psychic connection, and where you might still feel their energy. Like this person has a cord attached to me. This person has a cord attached to me. Yeah, and a cord is because they're thinking about you, and there's an emotion that transcends time and space. This is a past life karmic. So of course, when you detach, this person's having anxiety because you feel like home. It's like when they're being asked to like grow up. It's like I'm gonna create drama. I'm gonna create again, and so now what this person does too, in order to emotionally disconnect, because you're like, okay, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling them. No, you're not gonna, because you know this person suppresses it with substances. They either drink too much, smoke too much weed, do whatever to escape, to not have to like deal. So that's why you're like, how can they go so long without talking to me? How can they like not be? And the reason why is because I feel like this person like kind of checks out. And it's like this person lives from their addictions. Hey, Ellen. So, you know, we have to ask, like, when we see a relationship like this, we can say, okay, well, what is this person going to do? And like, because there's always an ego part of self that wants one, and that wants to know, right? Like, what's this person going to do? But we also want to know, why did we attract this person into our life to begin with? Because we can't really do anything with a person that, like I was saying, you know, we can't do anything about that. So I'll open the floor to like answer your questions. I just want to finish this reading. So we can't do anything with it, but again, we can still have feelings for a person and be curious about what their true feelings are. Like I said, so I'm going to pull for that. But the most important thing when we're looking at our shadows, when we're dealing with this energy, because this is a person that doesn't feel good about themselves, obviously. And they don't feel good about themselves because they never come from their true self. They come from a version of themselves. So they never let you get close. So what you felt was, does this person care about me? Yeah, they care from their level of consciousness. They like to control, they like to play games. They don't like to go as deep as this relationship was meant because it's a spiritual connection. We're going to see why this person showed up in your life, but it's again, they're not on your vibration. So, but just they're not on your vibration, like I said, we all have an ego part of ourselves. We all are like, well, I want to know what they're going to do. I want to know whether or not they have feelings, or I feel you leaving me behind. So this person already can feel like you detached, and that's why they have anxiety now, because you are leaving them behind, because you're like, you don't want to go deep. You wanted to keep me on the surface. You're always coming from your like a mask part of self. I don't see other people let them running around. I just see them not letting you in. And then it's, I regret lying to you again. And they lied about like acting like they didn't really care, lied about who they are to make themselves appear better. And that's the thing too. When a person like wears a mask, they can't let that anyone that close into their life. You speak to me through music. So I feel like that's, I don't know whether like that's true or whether or not that's what they feel, because they're always thinking of you, right? Person is always thinking of you. So that's why it said, even though they did all these things, their inner truth is, like they said, that they think about it. They thinking about you, which obviously they care. I feel like they miss, believe it or not, that connection. There was like a friendship, and that's a friendship that's gone now. I want to feel again. Thank you, Denise. I want to feel that way again. I'm going to open up the floor though as soon as I'm finished with this reading. So after, I like the person is still thinking about it, it doesn't matter because they're imbalanced. So, you know, I always say, why did you attract this person into your life? Because they're imbalanced. It's like, it doesn't matter like that they have feelings. I did that to satisfy the ego, which is, this person's messed up. They didn't treat you right. But what do they really feel? Like, was it from their level of consciousness? And spirit says yes. But what's most important is, why did you attract this person into your life? Because you want to break the karmic cycle of emotionally not available coming into my life. I want to have a person intelligent come into my life, especially if you think that you're emotionally intelligent. You don't want to like to deal with it. And the only way to break a karmic cycle is you have to not just be aware, you have to implement like new behaviorisms to break that karmic cycle, because this means that you're doing something and that's what's creating the karma. Karma, there's many different realities that play it at one time. Your level of consciousness is like that, like it's going to tell us. And if you have wounds due to the inner child wounds, that's why we have to look at the inner child wounds. Where did this come from? And so we look and we say time and attention, not getting time and attention when you were a kid. Again, and that's emotionally. It doesn't matter whether or not you would look at it today and be like, I'm not like that. It's the child self. And the child self is the sensitive self. And it sees the parents as perfect. And, if your emotional needs are taken care of, because, and that could be that my parents were home, but if I cried, I wasn't soothed. I was told to stop crying, otherwise you're going to get something to cry about. Like, or maybe you needed again the time, the nurturing, the parenting, the guidance, the love. So again, this isn't a blame game. We have to just understand, where the fuck did it come from, and how do I get rid of it? Because I don't want to keep attracting these type of people. Hello, Margarine. Hello, Gwen. And it's laughter. It's like laughter. I consider laughter as you find your own happiness, your own joy. It's if you grew up where there wasn't time and attention given to you, well, then also you kind of had to entertain yourself. And that could kind of be, it's okay, but you're not really going to find the joys in life, right? So I feel like we have to ask ourselves, what do we do to fix these imbalance too, right? And if you grew up in a very strict household where it's like, again, we were made to study, we were made to, again, there was a lot of tension. Again, that you didn't laugh. There was no joy. There's no happiness. Remember, passion is really derived from joy. And that's because we find it through our individuality. Hello. And outdoors in nature. So it's again grounding to the earth, feeling supported, right? Because the outdoors nature, what is nature? Well, nature is really God, believe it or not. And we get our support from nature. Really, everything that we need, the earth provides us with. But I feel like there wasn't really that support growing up. There wasn't the time and the attention given, and so you didn't really find your passion. So what it is you're healing in order to integrate the spiritual lesson. For me to close out this reading, it's to give yourself the time and attention to find your passions and happiness in life, and that's through going out into the world. Again, this is a grounding issue, and grounding is the way that you perceive yourself. This is what you're attracting. And you're like, well, I don't believe that I can have love in a way. I mean, and that's, and spirit says you got to give yourself the love. You give yourself the love by, again, giving yourself the time and the attention to go out and find the things that are going to bring you so much joy and happiness and pleasure. And really that's how you integrate the spiritual lesson. Otherwise, and the reason why is because spirit says you need to see yourself differently. How do you manifest? It's through the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you have. And the emotions that you have right now because of the bad relationships or whatever has happened in your life, you perceive yourself from that level of consciousness, but you weren't aware. So let me just pull to say hello, Amy. So I'm just going to pull this card, and then I'm going to open the floor to anyone that wants me to answer some questions. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I always ask and say, well, what the hell? Like, what is there anything else that spirit would want to share with us right now? And really, spirit says, wisdom. God has a plan for you. And really it says for me, but it's really for you because I'm reading it for you. And it says, I live here now knowing beauty is to come. I don't force things to happen faster than the universe has decided for me. I learn from my experiences, take small steps in faith and success, thanks to all my efforts. So it's, again, the wisdom really comes from really God's divine time, meaning the universe. It's like, because your intuition leads you. And that's when we're talking about wisdom, we're talking about the higher wisdom, which higher wisdom comes from the higher self. The higher self part of self. And that comes in the form of knowing, claircognizance. We all have it. It's just we block it. It's that knowing. It's like, I don't know how I knew that. I just knew. And so that's the wisdom that Spirit's talking about, saying that, you don't rush things, and to try and be in a relationship like this, definitely you would have forced it, and this wouldn't have been, the best situation for you, really, is at the end of the day. So Spirit's saying, because really this grounding energy, just to end this, to be outdoors and nature, the grounding, the earth, and that when we are really grounded, that's when we get that divine guidance. When we're interactive in life, that's when we're getting divine guidance, and then the universe conspires to bring us the right energy, and we're not forcing things. This situation, like right away, felt forced, and so again, and when at the end of the day, we don't even see this person able to like come back and do anything. But I do believe, because they interacted with you and they learned a little bit, you leaving them better than how you found them. And that's what relationships essentially do. They help us evolve into the best version of ourselves. And you might say, no, this created pain, but pain essentially changes you, because you say, I'm never going to do that again. The problem is when people overcompensate. And that's a second chakra imbalance. And that's, again, because they're like, I don't really know how, but because I gave to my last person, I'm going to not give anything to this person. And that's that second chakra. And we need to find our balance. And we find our balance through integrating the spiritual lessons so that we can find our true self. Now, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want me to answer any questions? Because I'll open the floor for a few minutes. For you guys, like I said, otherwise, I want to be able to assist anybody in their shadow, shadow part of self. The shadow part of self is those detached parts of ourselves, and they play out, within our relationships, life. So if you are experiencing any, like I said, spiritual blocks, you can share with me and I can help you. I think that there's an ad coming on in a second, but otherwise, I have another channel that I want to do a reading for. I just wanted to jump on to see, because I never do live streams. I got to look a little bit better. Like a mess. I'm like, damn girl, look like a hot mess. All right, let's see. Let me pull another one. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, let's pull and see. This is starting of another reading, because we ended the other one, but no one's going to ask, so I'm going to do another one. Disrespected. So the underlining energy is, I feel like you feel disrespected. You're like, I was attracted to an asshole. Like literally, that's what I feel like. It's like they disrespected me. And it's like, I feel like this person again had a second chakra imbalance, and that's where they don't know who they are. They overcompensate, right? Hey, yeah, like I figured I'd come on and do a live for everyone. I didn't get around to doing the coaching today, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Anyway, so disrespected. It's like I felt disrespected. So we have to ask ourselves, what happened? Why did you feel disrespected? Why did you feel disrespected? Let me get my trigger cards. It's like, well, I feel like expectations. First of all, it was like a little bit of a slap in the face. I feel like when you have a spiritual connection, it's deep, like, and because there's a lot of attraction, there's a lot of chemistry, there's, believe it or not, our soul memories, even if you don't remember that there were soul memories. But the thing is, this person's like actions were definitely not in alignment with, that feeling. So I feel more in the expectation, like, obviously I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated, and this person was, I feel like it kind of flipped them out the depth of the connection, because they never had a connection where they're like, I feel like I know you before. Like, they're not a spiritual person, they don't get connected, they don't have deep emotions. Don't get me wrong, it's like they have people in their life that they care about, like I'm sure their mother, their father, but it's like it's very far and few between that this person says, oh, they don't build that. So that's the thing. Um, yeah. And so I feel like, and in that, it's like, you're like, I already went through enough emotional abuse and mental abuse, not from you, but from past relationships, that what you do, it triggers me. It triggers me. It's really disturbing to me, like, because, and I feel like this person played a lot of games. I feel like they played a lot of games to try to keep you like in your place, kind of, and I like, in a way of controlling you, of manipulating you. And it's because, again, they wanted things their way. This person wanted to be connected to you, but they also wanted their freedom. But they didn't want you to date anybody, though. You weren't allowed to date anyone. So they had to, like, create illusions again. And then when you would call them out on it, they would project it all back onto you. It's like, you don't take accountability. You don't take accountability. It's like, what you do is, I tell you what you're doing, and instead of you fixing the problem, you project the shit back onto me. So we're going around and around and around. Like, so that, again, this is why I feel disturbed. It's like, and it's all manipulation. It's, again, I want to hold on to you. I don't necessarily want to keep you, though, but I want to hold on to you, which I feel like that for some of you. Like, it's like, yeah, like, it's like, I always feel like people want me for what they want me for, but then when I want in return, fuck you, and I'm like, why is that? Because I don't have a problem giving. That's not who I am. Why am I getting that? So this person was like I feel like brought up a lot of like, why can I see that you can give to everybody else? Like, it's almost like narcissism energy. Like, yeah, you're gonna give to everybody else right in front of me, where everyone's gonna think you're nice, and you're not nice. You're an asshole, And it's like, because you're not nice to me, and I'm the only one that's nice to you. Like, it's like, and that's because, again, this person never had that type of, like, close relationship, this bond. So it really is like keeping you around and around and around in your mind, because it's like, well, I want you, but it's like, I do care about you. This is how I care about you. It's like, I don't need you to put me in a box, and when you want to feel like it, it's like, when it compartmentalize, it's like, and only think about yourself on top of it. But this is a sign that the person is like, oh, really? Is it breaking up for everyone? I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. The floor is open for questions. Is it breaking up for everyone? Well, anyway, maybe it's your internet, Amy. Like, check. But I'm gonna check it after, and then if it is, then next time I'm gonna use my other internet, because I have backup. Oh, only a teeny weeny bit. See, it depends. I learned to ask because, internet, but I have two internet boxes just in case. Thank you, Uthapa. I'm glad that, like you said, that's why I asked that because it was like sometimes the case with some people's internet, just like in relationships, how sometimes there's like what like somebody is going to be really manipulative with one person, and then with another person, they're like, how come they're not manipulative? Like, and then that almost makes the person feel crazy. Like, how come, like with me, this person was, and I think maybe your internet's slower. That's why there's a lag, like I'm saying, because other people, like one other person that answered said that there isn't. So, I think that sometimes that's what it is. It's like, you know, um, but I will use my other internet box next time. This way I'll make sure that everybody has good that on my end, but I can't on your end. Anyway, so it's like this person is just manipulative and didn't because they weren't taking accountability. They kept projecting, which is a common thing that people do when they have shadows. That they don't want to look at their shadows. The ego is going to say, no, no, no. Now remember, the ego is part of the reptilian mind, and the reptilian mind is a survival mind, and it's not going to be accountable if it's not ready to heal. And so understand it wasn't until you really cut your energy, right? I feel like that this person, I feel like felt the that um so it says, so I feel like this person's inner child needs healing. That's what it is. This person's inner needs has a lot of inner child wounds. So, which we knew, but I mean, because where does it come from? People don't just act this way for no apparent reason. They act this way because of um, what's transpired in their life. So we can still say, well, are they going to do anything differently? And that's because we all want to satisfy our ego, right? I mean, listen, it's like, hey, I put in a certain amount of time. Is this person going to suffer? At least tell me if they were an asshole that they're going to suffer. Tell me that there's going to be something that they were in my life. So we satisfy the ego, but remember, the more important thing here is we wonder why did I attract this person into my life to begin with? Anyone else like this if they were an asshole and this person was an asshole? It's like they wanted to hold on to you without giving you anything. It's like, and I get to do whatever I want to do, but you can't do what you want to do. And that's like, you're like, that's a karmic theme that I live with. It's like, what the hell is that? But we still have to say, are they going to come back and change? The ego is like, they're at least going to suffer. It's like, we're human. That's the human experience. It's like, oh my God, this person really does have feelings. And because I looked down and I was like, there was one card flipped over and it was like soulmate, but I was like, I'm not going to take that because it was flipped over. But I'm like, maybe it was a sign. And then I was like, I feel like this person feels like that there is a connection. And that's the thing with shadows. Shadows are like, why did the person treat me like a piece of shit? And then this is how they love. And spirit will say, again, that it triggers some people that don't believe that they deserve love. We're going to look and see why, this person would be. And not that it matters, but it kind of does, because at least they say, well, at least it's not me. It's that helps you again say, well, it's because I feel like they never had a connection this deep before. That's why the inner child needs healing. I don't think I ever said, oh, let me heal my inner child. No, the person was coming from their ego self, which is the reptilian mind, which is a survival mind, which is all about manipulation and ego, and it's all about what I want, not anything about what you want. And now that you're gone, it's like, well, I did love you. You are my soulmate. So that's like a little bit like narcissistic love, meaning, well, you're just like an extension of me, and that's really what it is. So if you want to know, you deserve better than me. That's what this relationship really. So if you want to know whether or not this person regrets what they did, they do. But because they're seeing like, well, this is actually what it was after, like now that I'm away from the situation and I'm not getting so triggered by the fact I'm away from the situation and I'm not getting so triggered by the fact that, I had feelings, I got overstimulated and I got in my own way. This person has self-sabotaging behaviorisms. And that's why I said we always have to look at the shadows to I said, this reading would not be complete without saying, well, why did I attract this person? What the fuck, And God says, well, remember, you're down there in physical form to learn and to manifest. And you're like, what am I learning? And Spirit says, you're supposed to be learning that you're not separate from love, unconditional love. And that's, again, you get that through your experiences. You get that, and so you'll be like, no, this person hurt me. And Spirit said, well, they shouldn't have been able to hurt you. You should have learned, and you could have done something to avoid that karmic retribution. And in order to understand why you attracted that person and what your triggers were, you can't do that. That's how people relive the karmic theme. Lies and secrecy. So I feel like whenever we grow up in an environment where it's like, again, if it's an alcoholic family, if it's there's some sort of imbalance, that we honor our family, but we're actually sometimes like hiding certain things. Things are where we feel that we're inadequate because of that experience. It's perception, and it's a lie, because again, you are not your experience. You are, again, an expression of unconditional love that's able to change moment to moment to moment to moment. There is no boundaries in the spiritual realm. That's why there is no gender in the spiritual realm, and it's just consciousness. Now I just froze. There's just consciousness. So evolve to the highest consciousness, which is unconditional love. When we have shadows, it's parts where we've detached. We don't like that part. And so we have to look back at the lies and the secrecy and say, well, what were the behaviorisms that came from that? Like not really being as open, not feeling as safe, not feeling, again, you are not the lies and the secrecy or the experiences. Spirit's saying, remember, you can't get rid of negative energy. You can only integrate it. You integrate it by transmuting it, and you transmute it by saying, well, and the secrecy is not me. I'm not my experiences. But then there needs to be something in place of that. And I'm a loving artist, this, that, and all the other things that you do in order to give and receive of love, to be the expression of unconditional love, so you can attract exactly that abundance of unconditional love into your life. And that's, again, you didn't really get to do that, because if there was a lies and secrecy, and then you had to, again, play a part in the family dynamic, well, then guess what? All this space here, this is space that you were supposed to be creating. How do we find ourselves? We find ourselves by going out into the world and creating and finding ourselves. That's really what happens. Otherwise, then we don't. And those wounds fester because we never see a different version of ourselves. And we don't integrate it. And that's in this story. And so it's what Spirit is saying. The universe is Spirit, and the universe says, well, I'm going to bring this person into your life. What's lacking? And really, that's what it is. You were like, well, this person, it's like nothing to be in this relationship. And so Spirit says, all this space is really, again, every day is an empty canvas to create what you want to create. Do you want to stay in the same energy that you grew up in, where it's, again, that it would be a lot of lies and secrecy with this person, and like just stuck in that karmic loop? Karmic loops turn into karmic cycles, and karmic cycles turn into karmic contracts. And no one wants to be bound to a trauma bond for 10, 15 years, 20 years, it's like you die fast. Trust me. I saw that with my parents. It's like it doesn't, it's a trauma bond relationship, is a very codependent relationship, and it's not a good one. And so again, believing that you're a loner, this is, I believe, is actually a gift. And if you didn't feel supported, and there were lies and secrecies, then then you feel like there was something wrong with you, even though that there wasn't anything wrong with you. But mind says, well, I'm different than everyone else, so I'm going to be again a loner. But that loner allowed you to become strong, allowed you to, have strong intuition. There's gifts that came with it. So what really Spirit's saying is, in order for you to integrate the spiritual lesson, it's to become, still be like, again, the loner, like to go out into the world to find yourself so you can intuitively really know what you want without being connected to anyone, and to use that space, like to again create yourself, to become the expression of unconditional love, so that you see yourself, so that you're not the, like, again, like living from that level of consciousness of, like, you're trying to hide like who you are, when really Spirit says, what are you hiding? Like, what are you rejecting? What are you not liking? That's not even real. That's a perception, and that's what is going to hold you back. It's going to manifest as like imbalances in relationships, because there's only two energies, love and fear. And even if you're a little imbalanced, you can draw someone to you that's like, it's like, yo, this person's really imbalanced. I was only a little imbalanced. And Spirit says it doesn't matter. There's only two energies, and everything's to help you evolve into the highest consciousness, which is unconditional love. And if it helps you get you there faster, then that's what I'm going to do. So then we'll ask one more question, which is there anything else that we should know? Is there anything else we have? No. And I'll answer your questions, Panthea. Okay, shining light. My desire to improve myself transformed fear into strength. I raise my thoughts above doubt and find faith in the goodness of the universe. I love and accept myself as a soul, and I discover the light that dwells within me. Again, this is about finding yourself. And again, I discover the light that dwells in me. Really, because hey, there's shadows there. And if there's shadows there, they're not supposed to be there. Go out and find yourself, create yourself, and become yourself. And then again, that's how you'll transmute that negative energy. That's how you become whole. That's what Spirit's saying. Okay, so you're blocked in your professional life, so we need to look and see. Again, you can't go back in time. You can't go back in time. You have to start where you are. And you start where you, meaning like a lot of times it's like we want to beat ourselves up and look at other people's gardens and compare and say, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And Spirit says, no, you start where you are. And so obviously you've conditioned yourself to live from a state of mind of not trusting yourself, but you don't even know yourself. So part of this is like family ancestral karma. I feel like you were brought up by somebody that was mean, that wasn't nice to you. And so again, in that, it's like there's a sense of you not liking yourself. And God says, you gotta love yourself. You're an expression of me, and that's just unconditional love. You get to be whatever you want. But again, unconsciously, there's a lot of like fear. So like I said, that's why you have problems within your professional life, because again, money has no energy except for the energy you're giving it. And I don't really even know who I am. So going into a work and then knowing that, listen, that leaves you open to be bullied too, just so you know. So you're like, I have people and they just come to me and they create problems within my work. And that's because Spirit's saying, because that's is what you need to heal within you. So in order to heal, I would create a daily practice for myself. And that part would be yoga, meditation, and I would do the meditation of that, the Silver Ultramind method, because that really helps you get into that ESP mode, the business mind. It's there's actually that's if you have Audible, it's called the ESP Ultra Mind system, and it's for business. It's like that's number one. It'll help you to connect to the higher self because you're like all over the place. You were conditioned to, believe that money was hard to come by. And you look at money as that. And then if you don't feel good about yourself, then money is almost like so difficult to obtain. Where spirit is, you have to get into the energy of passion in order to obtain. And that's by doing what you love, becoming what you love. And there's a sense of you not really doing what you love. And then it's like, and then there's the people element, which is like, and then everybody's a bad person. And spirit says that's because of how you feel about yourself. There's a sense of I don't trust myself, I'm afraid. And spirit says, well, then I'm going to bring people to you that make you more afraid. And then you're like, well, why the fuck would you do that? And spirit says, well, you need to heal it. And you're like, but you never heal it. So it's just like, again, the spirit says that's the issue. So you got to get a stronger connection to your body. Again, that's what happens from trauma when it doesn't feel good to be around, to be brought up in that environment where it felt like it was somebody was mean. It's like you went in your head and you ruminate, and spirit says that you got like that's your walking target. You don't realize that you by what you're showing people unconsciously that you're not strong within yourself. So to get a stronger connection to the body. It's also to do somatic healing. And you might say, how am I going to do this? And spirit says, listen, I'm going to make it where there is no way just for you. Whatever job you're working at, you're not really loving the experience. So it is because it's not your thing. You're like, well, nothing is my thing. And the spirit says, well, it's, again, you haven't discovered enough. But the broken pieces of you, or you can make away from those, you can heal yourself. You have to do it anyway. You have no choice because you need to really, again, get a better connection to the physical body. And that happens through releasing that energy. You might say, well, what is that going to do? Well, if you could get certified, you'd be like, how am I going to afford that? See the money. And spirit says that energy is going to be, first of all, kill you. Again, money has no energy. You can take a cheap class online and become it and become it and become it. And then guess what? You then get ideas. The intuitive mind leads you. You're always in the logical survival mind with the money. Then the money is going to be impossible to come from. It's going to be very fluctuating. It comes in, it's out, it's in, it's out. When really it's like you get, like I said, it's a root chakra imbalance. So part of it is, I would say, create the daily practice to get a better connection to the body. That was yoga, that's somatic healing. And so, yeah, I am telling you to have a day for your day. Again, successful people do. They have a plan. They make short-term goals and then long-term goals. There's a sense of you're saying, well, how come it's just not happening? Spirit says that you're not creating yourself. It doesn't just happen. It's like it's how much love you put into something. It's how much time, energy, focus, and money you're giving something. And you don't really have that passion enough to fuel it. And that's why I'm saying, so you need to start where you are and say, well, at least I care about myself. I want to, like, again, because I can be successful, and you can be because you're highly sensitive, and highly sensitive people are smart people. They're deep. They're again, they look at things from every direction. They're intuitive, but not when you're overstimulated, and you get overstimulated. So there's a sense of I don't really like trust myself. And spirit says, well, I live inside of you. It's a gift to spirit. I can't, like, you're driving the bus, and you're like saying, I don't trust myself. And so, of course, what's going to happen, which is the karma. That's why I say part of this would be to help you recondition yourself, to recondition it, because the body and mind are self-healing organisms. Spirit says, please don't do my job, do your job. Be like childlike, where it's, again, the passion. The childlike, there's no expectation of how it is. It's actually an unfoldment process. You have too much fear. And that fear is because of the way you were conditioned. So without actually reconditioning, you're not going to get the results that you want. Now, like, are you following me? Because I don't see you on the screen anywhere. Are you gone? Like, because that's really what the issue is. Okay, good. There you are. Because like I thought you were gone. Like, are you resonating? Okay, I know. I just wanted to make sure that I'm human too, Panthea. Now you're not the only one that gets like, well, because it's a sign of. I mean, listen, we needed more love. It's not a bad thing. It means that you give a lot of love. I know, but it's again being that you're highly educated. It's like you're very much in the logical, analytical mind, and what spirit is saying is part of this issue is to again, it's to go out and have fun, to go out and to do like to find yourself, your unique individuality. So, being that you're highly educated, it's like people can go to school and learn and their mind expands, but what's your passion for life? And I feel like that's what's missing. It's like it's not that you're not smart, but you'll get into any job, but there will be a sense of I don't really feel connected to it. And the reason why is because I feel like you grew up in a very structured and it was a very strict environment. And yes, there's gifts from that because you wouldn't have gone and gotten educated, but somebody else is teaching you what you want. How are you going to channel your education into expression? You're like, that's what I'm getting a reading for. And Spirit says, again, you have to become yourself. And you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. And says, Spirit says, start where you are. Start with the actual healing yourself. Because you could then teach other people and actually run your own business and then get into other areas. The intuitive mind, again, part of you is not accessing that right brain, the creative mind. See, we're left brain and right brain, and that's the thing. So that's why you're blocked. You're blocked because when we're creating ourselves, believe it or not, we're just in our body. So we're again grounded. That second chakra is where you're blocked. That's your unique individuality. Because I love art and I have already many things in my head about that, but I chose something else of the sort. Yeah, but that's okay. There's many hours in the day. Like Panthea, like it's a partially it's like this is a grounding issue. So on your day off in the morning or at nighttime, you hit the pavement and you join art clubs then. And if there isn't one, you start one. Well, every Sunday you come down with your bottle of wine. It's $10 a head. Come on in. We found a space. It's like this is a grounding issue. Like if you're so educated, well, like again, you create what you love. You're smart. So again, this is the creative mind, the intuitive mind, and that's an unfoldment process. So be like childlike. It says that for a reason because children go out and they say, this is a cardboard box, but it's my tree house now until it rains. And when it rains, we either go out and we're on a search for another tree house until we found something else. We had no expectation. We just go out and do. Part of you is, again, not interactive enough with other artists. You might say, where? Well, meetup group. You'd have to, again, use the things that are in the earth, on the earth. Spirit says this is a grounding issue. Because when there's a grounding issue, there's a second chakra issue, and then all the chakras are imbalanced. And it's just because that first chakra is connection to like our physical body, the physical world, all physical elements of the physical world, and ancestral support. I believe that you're supposed to be breaking the ancestral karma. It's generally because, again, whatever was going on in the environment when your family was, going up. So it's like, again, we break it. And that's because it's not just about getting educated, it's about utilizing that education and channeling it into, again, your expression, your unique individuality. And that's really what's missing. where Spirit's saying, it's like, where's your passion for life? Where's your passion for life? It's like that's really what it is. And you're like, I don't really know what that is. And then you're like, I actually do. I love art. But Spirit's saying it's not one or the other, it's both. Because it takes a mustard seed, I make that multiply. We're all David going up against Goliath. God says, please don't do my job, do your job. Be like childlike and go out and hit the pavement. Create yourself. Create yourself. Again, start one. And you might say, well, I feel uncomfortable starting a club. And Spirit says, see, that's the problem. If I would want you to be a CEO of a place, would you say, oh, that's uncomfortable, I shouldn't do this? Spirit says, no. Because again, you could say, hey, every time we give it some of the proceeds to this foundation, that foundation, or we can take the proceeds and do this, whatever it is. It's like for the business mind, but you have to become it. And that's really what it is. And that's the way that you choose. It's also to be put your stuff online. So also to in your spare time to do it and do it through all different mediums, meaning, oh well, I put myself on Fiverr. Did you know? What do you mean you put yourself on Fiverr? Well, people they're always looking for graphic designers and artwork. So I put myself and people hire me for my artwork. It's like you gotta put yourself out there to actually see yourself. You have to be able to embody the what it is that you want to become to actually feel it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to manifest it. That's why you're like torn. You're like, we're doing this job, but I don't really want to do this job. It's one or the other. That's what the issue is. Spirit says money, no energy. If you again would do what you love, your creative mind would open up again. When you're grounded, you're in your body, you're utilizing everything within the physical world that's going to help you create yourself. That means restaurants, that means everything. Then it's that second chakra, which is to go with the flow of life, and that's through your passion, and then you're being led by your gut, intuition, giving and receiving of love. Like I said, then you're seeing opportunities. So when you are integrating that negative energy, understand you integrate it, and that's really how you release it, because you're seeing something different. When we feel like we have uh, negative energy, it automatic releases it. And yes, you do have, like, again, you're a highly sensitive person. It's again, they make changes in life, they have powerful energy, they have very emotional energy. And so it's just that, like, we're not a society that teaches, no society actually teaches us to deal with our emotions. So it's like there's a sense of, I don't know, like, and then it's like, what if I make a mistake? I don't know where to start. In Spirit always just says, start where you are. It's about, I would say, have a day before your day. Like I said, some people have days before their days. And so it might be to go first thing in the morning and say, where can I put my stuff on? And then say, well, I have to become myself. So do I have an Instagram page that has my artwork? Do I have a Facebook page that I have my artwork? Do I mingle with the artists when I can? How would you know? Well, I go to Facebook and I look into what's going on in my town, and I look to see the art groups that are in my town. It's like, and you got to see first the things that she knows how to do. You have to see it during. It's horrible. It's just horrible. Like my shit, I should be running the show there. And Spirit says, well, then why don't you step into it? And then you get there and you're like, well, actually, there's a lot of people that actually do. They have the front man there that had shit work, but everybody else is like Picasso here. And Spirit says, yeah, you're going to meet all different types of people. It's like, and every single one of them are going to teach you something about yourself and about, and about how to grow your business and how to like become, because they all know resources. They all do and go to different places, and that's how you learn, and that's how the third eye begins to open up, to be able to say, I can see how I would bring my art to that fair. How? Because Bertha always goes every year, and she sells over $1,000 worth of stuff, and her work is shit. No offense, she's a nice person, but listen, my stuff is better. And Spirit's saying, well, then put your stuff there. It's again, remember, people again come into your life to teach you, to show you, and that's it's you're worried about how am I going to make it happen? And Spirit says, well, that's my job. That's not your job. I'll make a way where there's no way for you, but you're not grounded. You're like again, you're over there. You're in the bakery. No, yeah, I don't know what you're doing there. Like when you really want to create art, you're like not even on the map. It's like just do it. I take care of the rest. But there's a lack of faith in your part. And faith is a bridge that helps you. And so again, we have to fake it till we make it. You have to become the energy. And mastery comes in doing. It's again, every master was a disaster. It's again, it's part of the path. Enjoy the ride. And that's really what Spirit's saying. The passion comes in the ride. You're missing out. It's not really the end result. And that's what Spirit is saying. Once you do it, it'll be. So now you have homework. You have to go and do those things, and you'll be able to. Will you be able to then, like, have like your own business? Yes. I see you again being able to like even be smart to like join together with galleries and do and live that type of life, because that's the type of life you want. You want to be around educated people. You want to marry someone that's educated. Like it's again, this is the life you want, and you're like, I don't see it because I'm at the bakery. You see? And I'm not really supposed to be there. I should actually be over here. It's like my heart aches for it. And Spirit says, then why? What's the problem? I can't make money that way. Who told you that? Oh, your family taught you that. That's what we said in the beginning. Again, that school education. So it's not one or the other. So like, oh, well, it was a mistake. And Spirit says, no, education is never a mistake. It's like you'll utilize it, somehow. It's again within something, and you'll be able to have meet an educated person that will have a good job, which is because again they're educated. It's there just won't be what you're 100% into, but it won't matter because that's really you're not seeing the life that you want. And that's really because you're like, again, the life I want is not just the art, it's the type of lifestyle, it's all of it. And I feel like I should have it. And Spirit says, well, you're not wrong. You're just going about it the wrong way. You're just driving the bus into the river. You're not on the road anymore. And that's because someone else told you how to drive your car and you're not driving it. And now you're like, this doesn't really feel right. And God says, no, because you're not supposed to be driving a Pinto. You're supposed to be driving a Mustang. It's like a convertible at that. And look what you're driving. You got 3 wheels. You don't even have 4. It's like, that's what it feels like. And so Spirit says, you always know. The higher self knows. And that's why Spirit says, but it's not one or the other. It's both. And that means you have to get structured. Otherwise, what's happening is you have to then pacify yourself by either buying too much or eating too much or doing other things because you're not really satisfying yourself through your passion for life. Now, did that answer your question? And is anyone else there? Is there a lapse? I said, I'm new to shadow work. Okay, good. See, that's what it's about. I wanted to read, what did Amy write? I'm new to shadow work. I know I probably need a lot of it. I harbor resentment and vengeance. This stems from childhood feelings of rejection, I assume, but I'm great at forgiveness. I feel like, again, that was awesome and inaccurate. Well, I'm so glad. I think that's what it's about. We just like, I don't really feel strong. We get in that pigeonhole because we're like, I want to make the right decision. And I trust in that. And I feel like it's both, but you won't see success until you continue to do it. And Amy, I feel like You're great at forgiveness, but we can never really 100% let it go when it continues to happen. And I feel like when we just forgive and you don't see that people really take accountability, it's like that's when you kind of want vengeance. And again, and you harbor resentment because you're like, well, it's like I continue to do. Of course, you can be added, Mina. Um, like that's so it's again like we can say, oh, I forgive, but the bottom line is that we can't forgive until we fully transmute that negative energy, and that means we have to see a different version of ourselves. We need to see something different. Otherwise, it's like I do forgive, and that's a normal reptilian mind, which is like, nope, we're not going to let that go. I mean, and everybody needs shadow work. There's not one person on the planet that needs shadow work, and we all need a lot of it. You know, childhood feelings, of course, it's like it all stems from childhood. The feel, and then what happens is that we go out into the world, and then we, attract people into our lives that now we continue to play out the same karmic themes, which keep us in a place of limitation, that keep us feeling like I can't have anything different. That's why I'm harboring resentment, because I feel like there's something wrong. I feel like they broke me, they ruined me, they did something. This is why we get angry, because it's like we're feeling like, and spirit always says, no one can break you. It's again, that's a perception. Again, and that's why again I want revenge. Vengeance is I want revenge. And it's like where really spirit says your revenge is that when you see yourself differently, you show those people a different side of you because they just projected their shit onto you. And that's again, it's about the integration process. I believe that you are good at forgiving and letting go, but then the same thing continues to happen, and then it's like it's disheartening. And the reason why is because you have to change. Once you change, those people change, and part of you changing is not allowing, like not just giving your energy away for free, which I feel like you tend to overgive, overdo. That was part of your survival mechanism growing up. You overgave. Like it's again to get love and acceptance. And so you go in relationships and you do that, and unconsciously you teach the person that, they don't really have to do for you. When really you're like, I'm doing this in hopes that you're going to do it back. And spirit says, do it for yourself. And what you're teaching that person is you better do it, otherwise you'll be replaced by someone that does. Because when you do for yourself, you meet different people. And those people treat you nicely, and you're going to be like, do I want to eat at like fucking Taco Bell, or do I want to eat at the Four Seasons over there where it can have steak, whatever, and whatever my favorite meal is, and dessert? It's like, I'm going to go with the nice piece. It's like, and that's the thing, when you look to give it to get it, and then you don't, that's the reason why, because you're continually giving it to people that don't deserve it. And that includes family members. So it's not, that doesn't just go in relationships. It's like, again, continue to teach people that they don't need to do it. And that's why I'm saying, it's all about like really integrating that so that these different experiences play out. Mina, I don't really do like again the whole like connection between Fahad and I do like shadow readings. So like again, if you have spiritual blocks, because what I feel really is like I don't really feel that much going on between you and this person. It's like you want to know, is this person going to come back into your life? Is this person going to be different? Are they going to give to you? Like I feel again, these relationships where they have one foot in, one foot out, it's because they don't really know. But and when a person doesn't know, that says more about them than it does you. And so the thing is, it's like they don't really know. like what they're gonna do. But if you don't make a person like chase you in the beginning, if you don't make a person chase you in the beginning, it's just gonna like fade out. It's like, and the reason why is because this person, like, do they find you attractive? Yes. Do they like, do you find them like, again, is there a connection there? Yes. However, I feel like this person like isn't really looking for anything. So that's the thing. Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm telling you. I feel like this person has shadows. So like, again, like commitment shadows, and you're like, you know, I want this person to like show me more, to give me more. And really, Spirit says you want this person to give you more. You have to change the dynamic of the relationship in order to get more. And it's not because this person's not doesn't find you attractive, or they it's like, again, I feel like they have intimacy issues, that there's a sense of, oh, I know you really want a relationship from me, and how much you want a relationship from me, I feel like you're overstimulating for that this person acts right, and that's not fair to you, Mina. It's like you're like, what are you talking about? Like you're making like, because I have feelings for you. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? It's like, and spirit, really, you're attracting this person because this sense of, well, I want it, I deserve it, and spirit says you do, but you have to again be the person that demands it within your relationship. And we don't demand it by talking. You try and talk to this person to like get what you want, it won't work. It's like this person's going to shut down. Yeah, that intimacy is trust. That's what the core of it is. It's like trust. I'm afraid to be vulnerable. I wasn't allowed to be vulnerable. I wasn't allowed to show my emotions. I wasn't allowed to be. You come into my life and you have expectations of what you want me to do because, again, and I know that I should act, and that, again, is overstimulating for me. And that's why I said, that's why I'm saying he doesn't really know 100% like what to do either. You're dealing with somebody that's not on the highest vibration. So when you get mad and frustrated, which I understand anybody would, because it's like, well, you're like, what are you doing? And it's like, but that's because of your wounds. I know, that's why I'm saying your wounds. This person is triggering the fuck out of you because those are your wounds. Where again, and when spirit says that those are awakening within inside of you, those wounds. And it's like really what you need to do is you need to again heal your wounds, attend to your wounds. Well, the thing is, it's like, right, every time, just long enough for you to get comfortable. It's like, and then once you get comfortable, it's like, nope, nope, I'm going to rip the rug right out from underneath you. And then it's like, well, what is that? And spirit says, what that is a bunch of bullshit. Like, that's what that is, because that's a constant abandonment that makes you not feel safe. And that's because, again, of their anxiety. But what that means is you're giving this person too much of your time, too much of your energy. And so you might be like, but this is my passion. This is my love. And God says, well, that's a fail. That's a stinky answer, because really spirit says your passion for life can't be a person. It has to be, again, for you to give to what do you love to do. You need to be an expression of love. You need to, again, like live your soul's path. You have to become yourself. And then maybe you need to book a reading, like again, where you find what your soul's path is, because then that's really the issue. You're giving this person too much. See, it's not that there isn't love there, but then you have to look at this person's inner child wounds, the dynamic of like how they grew up. So it's like, but so then here it is with you that you're like, well, like you're making me feel like I'm not lovable. And spirit says that's because you feel that way inside of you. And you're like, I don't feel that way inside of me. And then spirit's like, well, yeah, what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh, fuck you. And then spirit says, what does your money look like? Well, that's, it's then spirit says, those things shouldn't be out of balance. And if you're saying, well, those things are out of balance, well, the spirit says that they shouldn't be. And that's where your soul's path comes into play. And that's when, because it's again really knowing what your passion is, because you're like, so you find your passion through, again, hey, Elmira, I'm going to have coaching tomorrow, I think. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do it today. I was running around. So anyway, you find your soul's path through what you love, having a love affair with yourself. Yay. Like through having a love affair with yourself. It's like through really finding yourself. And so understand, I also don't think that it's like, oh, so then everything that I've done in my past was a waste. No, it was not a waste. We wind up utilizing everything that we learned along. Like it's almost like training to help you get that way. So you'd be like, so I was like a secretary, and now I'm doing like my soul's work is to be a plumber. How about this? That spirit says you learned how to work with people. You learned a skill, or you met people through that job that helped you find this job. There's always a reason that nothing goes to waste. Yeah, Mina, that's what it is. Everything does make sense when you integrate the spiritual blocks. And then, because again, the relationship, you're like, I know that it could work, but then why isn't that not working? And the reason why you were like, I know why it's not working. It's because of you. I'm going to change you. You need to change. And then spirit says that's a trigger, and don't let that trigger take, because that trigger can grow to a point that like we get really angry and say things, and then we can ruin relationships over it, again, because you're like trying to change and because you're getting hurt. Where spirit says, no, you change yourself, you diffuse that energy, you diffuse it. Because understand, you might be like, well, the person also isn't very nurturing when I'm like need to heal. Spirit says, well, if you're on your path and you give this person a lot less, they would be. And that's what you need to see too, where you're like, oh, okay, see, so if I did like leave to New Mexico tomorrow, you would care. If I ran off with Paco, you would care. It's like, because sometimes you don't act like you care, but I need to see that. And that's the emotional, thing. Remember, you're attracted to a person that's like you. Does that mean that they will show that way? No, it's again, you might be with someone that overthinks the way that you overthink, but they're not talking about it the way you're like, well, I'm going to go get a reading. I need to talk about it. This person like instead internalizes it, but like goes to like, so it's the same energy. So you're like, well, this is the way I feel. Well, then you need to flip the switch and you need to be like, okay, well, you're making me feel this way. So you know what? Not tonight. And that's why I'm saying, but it's also to be like, remember to not just to hold back, because then we're like playing, I'm going to hold back. 1 minute, like doing these every day, I got to hold back. Where spirit says, you got to do something that you love. Find another passion. Because when you're a soul's connection, it's like, I can feel when you're around. You think I don't know when you're around? I can feel your energy still around. And then that person's like, oh, they haven't gone anywhere. So you got to be like, oh yeah, motherfucker, I cut my energy off. That's right. I went to painting with a twist and I cut my energy off. And now you don't feel me anymore. And that scares you. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to detach the way that you detach, because you like to detach, because that's what you like to do, because you know that bothers me. So you like to do that. So I'm going to do that to you, because you don't think I know how to do that, but I know how to do that too. And that's what you need to do. And it's like, because you're not arguing with the person. What you're doing is you're like, oh, we're going to play this psychic attack game where I can play that game too. It's like, and that's, so again, because remember, soul's mate, there's unconditional love there, so it can't be broken. Time and space. So it's just, okay, well, I'm going to just shift the energy, because I can't deal with this the way that this is. And so what I'm going to do is, so I don't lose my fucking mind, I'm going, I'm going to take my power back. And it's like, and then you're going to feel my absence because I'm going to go real cold. And then what'll happen is your ego will eventually, come down. You'll miss me and you'll reach out and ask me if I saw your pair of socks or some stupid thing again to make an excuse. And that will be, what happens. And that's why it's again, put your energy there. When you put your energy there, that might mean, well, again, to connect with other people that also do like writing. It might mean to take a writing course, and that might mean to again take a course online where there's cheap courses online, and then also that maybe a meetup group that is a reasonable meetup group, like who's what class to go to. Invest in yourself. That also scares the person because it's like, oh yeah, well guess what? I got other options. That's right. You saw Bobby? Yeah, well that's right. Yeah, he's in my poetry class. Yep, he's in my writing class. And he sits next to me every time I do writing. And he likes the way I write. Anything about that? Like, understand? You're not saying that, but what you're saying is there are other people here, and that means other options. It's like I'm not always available for you. You no longer get the matinee special. You get the, you know, the shit time, the time that nobody wants, and you're also getting the front row seats at the movie theater, not getting the good seats either. That's often making you feel because you need to like hold to my standard here to make me feel a little bit better. Otherwise, like I don't really need you in my life. And that's not because you're being mean. What you're saying is, hey, listen, I know that what I bring to the table, I bring like top notch, 5-star fucking review here, like how much I give. So, the problem is that there's a deficit here. When I look and see, and in for me to get more, well, I'm going to show you what it fucking looks like. Since what it looks like, I'm not going to tell you because telling you is again kind of like you're going to get the message loud and clear. Like when I are interactive, saying anything, you're not playing a game. It's like, listen, that makes them think. What you got going on there, Mina, is a guy that's like, I don't need to think because, she loves me. So I don't really have to do anything. Scratch my balls. No, I'm kidding. Like, it's like I need to like think where it's like, what do you mean you don't need to think? It's like, what do you mean? Oh, like, well, I know you love me. Like, you're always around. It's just the way that we are. No, 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 you're too comfortable. You are way too comfortable. That's what it is, oh my, right? Do you think that I'm kidding here? See exactly what it is. It means comfortable, comfortable. Now, do you see the easy chair and the big belly and the whole 9 yards? No, you got to make this person be like, I'm not here. Like, no. It's like you need to treat me better, and the reason why you're getting that is because you're treating yourself. The way that you need to be treated. So this person doesn't know any better. It's like that's what it is. You're like, well, how did we get to this place? And spirit says, oh, because you came flying in there being like, oh, I know how to make a good relationship. I'm gonna be just perfect for you. And spirit says, oh, look at this. Are we being perfect for this bozo over here? This person that doesn't know like anything? This person, and not because they don't know because they haven't been taught. So, and then meanwhile, you're being like, here it is. I gave like the 10-course meal, and this fucker took me to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, there's a deficit here, and there's like, and that's because it's like it's just not enough effort, and that's what it is. So understand, not every single person is going to be emotionally intelligent, and the irony is that spirit always matches us up. If you are emotionally intelligent, you're getting someone that's emotionally like emotionally like I don't even want to say like a handicapped, like it's like handicapped. That's they're emotionally handicapped. Like there's something wrong, something wrong, and it's not purpose. It's like it's environment created them that way. So you have to, right, and that's what it is. And so you're like like the person's like is that and here it is, you're like, and I need a little extra. I need a little emotional support. And then you go up there with your plate and you're like, there's like two beans on my plate. There's nothing on here. And you're in spirit says, oh yeah, you need that. So I bet you want someone that knows how to do that. You ain't getting that. What you're getting is the emotionally handicapped person for like that's an aisle 4, and you're like, what? It's like a fucking IKEA, build it yourself. Like that's what I'm getting here in this person. And spirit says, yeah. And you're like, why the fuck do I got to get a person like that if this is what I feel like? That really triggers me. And spirit says, exactly, because it shouldn't trigger you. It's like it shouldn't trigger you. And it's like, again, it's like you got to teach this person. And probably it's because you didn't have it. So more emotionally intelligent than this person because you, again, well, I'm observant of what other people's needs are, and he was not. His gifts do not come from that. So they, again, what is you both draw to each other can also trigger each other, because you'll be like, let's talk about those feelings. And he'll be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, I'm listening. Only he went over to his brain 10 hours ago and click. So the lights are on, but nobody's home. He checked out. You're having a conversation with someone, and that person is not listening because they don't understand. So it's almost like talking a different language. Like you see the person's lips moving, but you don't understand what they're saying. This is a language that needs to be taught through doing, through showing, through saying, this is what it looks like. Because this person does not know. It's almost like, and then they get overstimulated because you're telling them, yo, like you're going to go and do this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't. Them. They're like, already, I feel like I'm emotionally handicapped, and now you're making me feel anxiety. So now I'm going to get mad at you because I have anxiety. And that's, and so it goes back to that where you're like, again, where they're like, they shut down. And then you're like, oh, now here we're going to go. We're not going to talk about anything. You're just going to shut down. And you're going to detach. And now you're over there where really spirit's saying it's about getting relaxed. Do you sense any love from his end? Like meaning like, does he care? Obviously, he wouldn't care. It's like, it's the fact of the emotional stuff is he's not good at. And then when you're like, I need to talk about it, I need this, I need that, that's overstimulating for him. And where this is where it needs to be taught. And the problem is that this person's going to trigger the shit out of you. It's like, and so you would be like that and understand he can feel that too. So there's a sense of inadequacy because he's not emotionally intelligent. So it's like, hey, I can make life work where I can have a good job and make money, but nobody really likes me. And the reason why is because I come across like that. And because no one, not supposed to deal with people by strategizing and being cold. It's about how much empathy you have. And the thing is, this person has intimacy issues. So it's like there's a sense of, I feel inadequate. And now it's, again, I like you and you're making me feel inadequate. So it's like, I'm going to shut down. And then, so in order for them not to shut down, it's for you to, back away a little bit. And then show instead of being triggered. And you won't be triggered if you, again, are putting your energy towards your art and doing that. Then you'll meet other people. You'll be emotionally taking care of yourself because you're like, I found my passion. I mean, with the writing, like if you do those things, you'll fulfill yourself. And what you'll realize is this person doesn't really need to give me all of that because I actually sustain myself. So I don't need all of that. And because I don't need it, then the expectation that I have is so small that this person just does it for me because they're not getting overstimulated. They're not self sabotaging themselves. They're not just getting in their own way because they feel like they can't do it. Care. They made me macaroni and cheese. I mean, burnt the fucking thing, but they made dinner. You know what? And that was a win because let me tell you something, this person doesn't do anything. But it's like, again, you'll see the little things and those little things that they do. You'll say, that was good enough for me. And then that makes them want to do more instead of, listen, look what you didn't do. You see what you didn't do? Do you see what you didn't do? It's like that they're in school again. It's like, let me take out the ruler and the pointer and show you. That's what it feels like. That person's like, you know, sits there and they already feel inadequate. We're like, but you hurt me, so I'm going to make you feel inadequate. And it's like, this way you will never do it again. Where really, then they do it again. Then you're like, are you purposely trying to do it? And it's like, no, they get in their own way, overstimulation. I feel like he does love you. Listen, somebody that's not emotionally intelligent wants to hear you talk about like what they should do and wants to be with someone like emotional. Guess what? That's not really a choice. It's spiritual energies is the fact of, you're not someone that I would actually pick for myself. You're actually like someone that actually can trigger me a little bit. You're someone that I don't have control over. And that's what I hear when he says that. Like it's almost like amazement. Like, it's almost like amazement, like of right. He's not emotional, but it's not that he's not intelligent. He's intelligent. He's just not emotionally intelligent. And it's because he wasn't allowed to be. So that's why again, but then he's only operating from half himself. Because we're not supposed to just operate ourselves from a logical, analytical mind. We're supposed to actually be able to be very balanced in how we deal. Spirit always brings us people and situations to help us. But I also believe brought up in that environment where he just, like you said, it wasn't just the military, it was how he was brought up. And so I'm afraid to be vulnerable. I'm afraid to be scared. I'm afraid. So that's why Spirit's like, oh, I'm going to bring you in and you're going to be overly sensitive, which again, he's going to lose his mind. And someone that's going to want to talk about everything, and he doesn't want to talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? Again, not emotionally intelligent. So I used to say things, and they used to not be the right things. People would get emotional, so I'm not comfortable with the emotion. So I'm going to bring someone like you, and that says, let's talk about the emotions. Let's talk about like how you should be more emotional. I think this person is going to be like, that is not, it's not good. It's like, that's why I said, where Spirit's saying, well, I feel like you're a little bit too emotional and too empathic and too sensitive, and you would definitely need a lot more, like, than this person would give. Like, than this person would give. But that doesn't mean that they're the wrong person. It's that I'm bringing you this person to show you that you're gonna have to not you will be able to change all the way, but you know that you can't be as emotional, needy. You can't be as like needs it as much in front of this person. So, and just the same way as this person knows they can't be so cold, so analytical, so rigid, so this, otherwise the relationship can't work. And so what happens is through the act of unconditional love, we find our balance because of again that person is holding that. It's like doesn't mean that they really want to do it. It's like shit, I would rather be with someone that's analytical. It's like it's triggering a lot. Like when you're dealing with someone that thinks differently, acts differently, it's a trigger. But I love you anyway. So it's like that's why there's a fine line between love and hate, because Spirit's saying, it can drive you mad. But I do believe that that's that he does believe it. It's just there's a sense of you being like, I need to see it. And so Spirit says, do it for yourself, you'll see it. Otherwise, you'll damage the relationship. Where you'll be like, again, like or you'll continually feel like, forth, like, hey, like I had to put my foot down. And then what happens is, it's like, we're not talking now. But then we missed each other. So we're back. And then we're back. And then the problem is now you created major trust issues. Well, you're only going to leave anyway. And then that becomes a problem because you're then trying to control it. And so you can't control the relationship and understand. And if they control the relationship where they're like, well, you're out and they act like an ass, then they feel guilty about it. Because again, unconditional love, you're always going to revert back to that if it's a real soul's connection. And I believe that it is a real soul's connection, like you said. And this person, that's the way it looks. It looks that way because that's the way he was taught. And you're getting that person because Spirit is saying you're a little imbalanced because of the fact that you didn't have it. So we're going to integrate that again, and you're going to learn how to. But if you don't, then you'll ruin the connection, and you don't want the connection. So you have to get more into yourself. And then what'll happen is they'll eventually come back and start talking to you because you won't come back to them because you'll be busy. And then what'll happen is you will eventually get to see what you need to see, with this person. And it won't because you're like, I had to tell them what I saw. But understand that might also be, I got interactive in my writing and other men started to ask me out. And though I didn't want to date any of them, he came to pick me up. And as I was walking out, the guy saw and God said, well, I had to do that. I had to kick him in the ass. You're not the only person that trains them. But when, you do it, I help you. I bring you other things because it's, again, the person wants to do it, but they're sitting there and they're, playing games. And so understand it's karmic. Everything's karmic. Again, eventually you'd be like, listen, you're not doing what you need to do. It's like, I have other options. And that eventually that person sees that. And it's not a game because you're not rubbing it in that person's face. What you're just saying is like, eventually that's what it is. But without the expectation, this person won't have a problem. But it's almost like you do something and it's like, oh, there's a time and then there's an expectation. And then it's like, you fucking always let me, it's always short. You're always a day late and a dollar short. It's like you're always coming up short. And then that makes the person feel bad because, hey, it's like, I love this person. You love me. So it's like, I'm figuring you're going to do big and you always like are conservative. It's like, I am not conservative when it comes to love. If anything, I'm going to go do the big shebang. And it's like, and here it is. I come in and like, what do you got? Like 2 people here with party hats on, you and your dog for me, and a blow. And then, where's my cake? It's like, where's the effort? And it's like, again, it's like, you got to make that. Has he changed any bit, or is there any expectations of him? I feel like we change, we make the person change. Hi, Bianca. I didn't forget about you. What blockages do you see for me in business? I feel like the same, but pretty much that's the theme. It's again, I feel like you can do well within your business. I just don't feel like it's 100% what it is that you want to do. And so, like I said, when it's not what we want to do, now you might say, well, what person works at 100% what they want to do? You have to have a focal point of what it is that you want to do, the end result of what it is, and whatever that is. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't work at jobs that per se that you don't want to be at. You might have to work somewhere for a certain amount of it to get the training, to get the know-how, to lead to the next job that's going to help you like reach your goal, which is what I feel like you're going to need to do. I feel like looking for permanency. There's a sense of I'm looking for permanency, and where you're not 100%, you don't know enough. And I don't know in business, like I was saying business, you doing business, saying business, you doing business. That's stupid because you said business, but I feel like almost finance, consider business as finance. I know that there's a lot of other areas of business, but it's like I always consider like that. It's like that you're somebody that like is good with helping people with actually business, like like creating better business for themselves. Like you'd be good in that type of role. I just don't feel like that's what you're doing. I feel like you work for a place and you're not 100% happy there, and you're not. There's a part of you that when I tap in is like, I don't even know why I'm here. You know what I mean? And so when that's the case, then it's like already the energy off. There has to be a sense of I'm here to learn X, Y, and Z, and then after I'm on to this. I have a bigger picture at hand. Otherwise, then there's a sense of I go into business, I work at this place, not 100% satisfied, and the money is like it'll reflect in the money. And Nina, I feel like it's about that. It's too like even in some of the exact things you've said that my person does or did. Well, it's like it's funny because that's how its energy works. Spiritual energy goes to the person that needs to hear the message all the time. That's the way it works. And so we're energy beings. It's like, and so it's sometimes it's just confirmation like that we hear, and you know but I'm glad that you got something out of it too. I hope everyone got something out of it. Feel free to super chat me if I gave you advice and you like the advice. And if you haven't joined my channel, please subscribe to the channel. I want to thank everybody for being on and sharing your energy with me. But I've been on for almost an hour and 45 minutes. Thank you so much. I definitely feel that and have felt led to you. I'm so glad, Noah. You know what? Because my readings are a little bit different. They're shadow readings. So shadow readings do tell what's going on, but they do go deep. I feel like if I need to explain that reading, because they are a little bit longer, because we go into that the depth of why certain people do what they do, but understand that allows us to take the energy off taking it personally. But then the real focus is, why did I attract this person? Like, what do I need to do to change the dynamic of this relationship before I go mad? Because that's what happens. And that you actually can create the life that you want. There's many different realities that play out at one time. So, you're getting that person. And I feel like a lot of times it doesn't need to be like an all or nothing type thing. Sometimes we need to, obviously, all the time we need to change. Um, but sometimes that change like doesn't mean that that person stays in our life. So I'm glad that helped you. I thank you all for sharing your energy with me. And like I said, feel free to super chat. I am gonna go off now, but I'll be on again. I'm going to try and do more lives. So like hopefully you'll see me on again. So catch me again. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.